Hello everyone, John Marshall, the DrillMaster, Corsicana High School. This is armed regulation. They're just about to enter the area and perform, but we need to address a couple of things first. This is Air Force Junior ROTC, and the commander is carrying this sword. This is a replica Marine Corps NCO sword. You're not supposed to carry this. So the sword that you can carry is this sword. It's the Academy sword. This is since it's all silver, then it's the Air Force. This is an older one, obviously, very old, and quite abused over the years. But this is the Air Force Academy sword. There's one that has gold coloring on it that is the Academy sword for West Point, the Army. And then also you can carry this, the officer's saber, the Army officer's saber. Now the Air Force doesn't issue swords or sabers. We don't have a long history. We, the Air Force, I'm retired Air Force. We don't have a history of carrying weapons really at all, except for just a couple of very specific AFSCs, Air Force Specialty Codes. It's the Air Force's version of the MOS, Military Occupational Specialty. So there are just a few jobs that carry weapons, and the rest don't. And there's a reason why. It's because 90% of the Air Force stays behind. We don't. We deploy to locations, but then we send up our aircraft. And so, and then there's those AFSCs, combat weather, PJs. They'll go in behind lines. They're the ones who carry weapons. They don't march in formation with weapons. Normally, security forces don't normally march in formation with weapons. Not like this. So it's not usual for the Air Force really to carry weapons, which is why a lot of Air Force JROTC units, when they first began, didn't have weapons at all, no rifles at all, while the other services had issued all the demilled rifles. All right, so got to switch out the sword. And plus, this isn't the correct frog to carry it. So and that's all we need to know about that. So if you're going to carry the Academy sword, that's the correct frog. If you're going to carry the officer sword, then you need or the officer saber, the Army saber, then you need the belt and the correct frog with that. It has a little chain and all that stuff. So all right. Rifle angles. We can see it's a little bit of a lazy grip here, and some of the rifles you can see are not here. Now the rifle is square with my body, parallel to my body, but I can see there's some like this, and then some here, and then we even have First element leader looks like she's just kind of doing this with with her hand. So there's inconsistencies throughout the flight. Spacing looks to be inconsistent as well. Alignment is inconsistent. All right, let's get going here. Good technique on the draw. Not perfect, but that was good technique. You really need to tuck your gloves. So the long gloves with the long wrist, you need to fold the glove inside twice so that it comes down to the wrist. But then why are you wearing gloves anyway? nobody else is wearing gloves, and it's just not it's not consistent with the rest of the team. Not necessary. And then if you're going to carry a sword, and you can see here, look at the rifle. Whoop. Darn it. So you could see the rifle angles are just all over the place. And to go back to here, there, it looks like a clock almost. So you have to be consistent. You've got to look at the training circular, read all about the 1903 in the very back in the annex there, and then understand the application of consistent technique throughout the flight. Elbows need to be tucked into the side, not pinned to the side, but tucked in. But you can see there's elbows all over the place. And then Commander, your your grip is okay with that, with the index finger wrapped around the grip of the sword. However, you need to pull that back to your side so that if you were to just take away the sword, all you'd have to do is cup your hand and your thumb is right there at the seam of the trouser leg. You're too close to the flight. You should be 3 steps away. So you execute facing movements at order, not at port or shoulder. And that's not present either. You came up, but you need to come up to the chin, and you're just a couple of inches away with the hilt of the sword is just a couple inches away from the chin, and then you bring the sword down so that it looks like this, right next to you. It's pointing straight forward. The knuckle bow is right next to you, and then your index, where your thumb is on. This is the side, but now it's the top, so that your thumb is on top there. And I know that in the training circular there is an explanation of technique. The drawings are absolutely awful, and it looks like this is the proper position. Honestly, that it's just so mind-boggling, confusing when you look at the training circular. It's just amazing. The Marine Corps order does a much better job. The body positions, the posture of both the models there in the Marine Corps order are not accurate at all, with the head forward and the hips pushed forward, and that it looks really bad. Your posture is perfect. This is great. However, you need to have the sword pointing straight out, not over at the side, and then the tip of the sword should be about 6 inches off the marching surface. 3 inches for Marine Corps, Navy, and Coast Guard, but 6 for our other 3 services. Camera operator, please. All right, so a lot of refinement needs to take place here. Why are you lifting the rifles, everybody at the same time? Why? There's so much going on here that really needs to be addressed. Commander, don't execute your own commands. That's not what you're supposed to do. Again, you need to be 3 steps away, but you're executing parade rest. You don't do that. If you give them present arms, you don't salute. You execute a face-in march after you give them forward march. You don't execute movement with the flight. You are not part of the flight. You are outside of the flight, outside the formation, commanding the formation to do certain things at certain times, and you are filling the role of the commander, not a member of the flight. They are filling their roles of members of the flight. So I didn't catch the command completely, but hopefully you said flight tench hut, and so there's I'm not gonna. Yeah, I need to say everything's wrong. Start over. So I don't say this lightly. I don't say this to insult anyone at all, but there was no the 15 count manual was very sloppy. All of your rifle movements so far have been very sloppy, but there was no articulation in the 15 count manual. And articulation means that you have slight, and I mean just not even split second, it's very, very short pauses for each individual separate movement. It's articulation means a separation of, in this case, movements. So I'll use my lighter rifle here. So what you were doing is 15 count manual arms. 1, 2, 3, and I saw a lot of this hand up here, not here. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's just constant movement. All right, probably not as sloppy as what I was doing. I'm exaggerating here for to make a point. But what you need to do then is articulate. Remember, separate the movements. So you're going to execute the movements like this. 15 count manual arms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Articulation means that you are going to make sure that everything is communicated clearly. Nothing here was communicated clearly. All right? And again, this is, some people take my comments like this as, oh, you're getting on the cadets, you're just beating them into the ground. No, I'm stating clearly what's happening here, and I'm trying to help everyone learn from the mistakes made here. And not just this team, but any team, any junior ROTC, any other cadet, Sea Cadets, Civil Air Patrol, anyone else who has anything to do with military drill and ceremonies. I'm trying to help educate everyone in this instance. So you lifted the rifles on the command of right. You don't do that. And then also you're slamming the butts of the rifles down every single time. Not supposed to do that either. You're not supposed to make a purposeful, audible sound. Yeah, sure, you're going to make a little bit of a sound sometimes here and there, but I'm surprised that you don't have the rubber butt plates on here. Do they come actually? Oh, it would be the one that's fitted over. I'm thinking of the M1 Garand that has the reversible little metal piece and the rubber piece as well. You can have either one that you want. Anyway, so and especially on a gym floor, on a fairly decent looking gym floor, you're not gonna slam your rifle. So, and you don't pick up the rifle for dress right dress. You only pick it up when you're going to move. and it's an individual thing. You pick it up 3 inches off the marching surface, something like that, and then you execute your movements, but then you place it down. It's individual movement. That's it. For dressing right. Then you're looking, you're aligning, you're touching fingers if you're in the first element, and then you're also, your head is to the right, but you're looking forward with your eyes to make sure that you're aligned to the front if you're in the second and third elements. But right face means that you lift and set down. That's it. That's with your first and second movements for right face. It's lift and set down. Commander, you have to face the the flight every single time every single time you're at halt and you're going to give a command. You don't face with the flight. You don't execute a left face just because you called right face. You're going to, as I stated earlier, you're going to execute a face in march as soon as you give them forward march. But now you're just going to step forward, which is improper. You faced with the flight. And you're trying to over sharpen things here, and okay, so it was close and extend instead of forward here, but now you're even closer to the flight, and when the elements move together, they need to move so that they are at close interval. This is much closer than close interval, but then again, you started closer than normal interval. So, and so when you set your rifle down, let's go back and look here. There. See how the rifles are just placed randomly everywhere? This one is even on the toe instead of squarely on. You're actually supposed to set the rifle down not squarely on the whole butt of the rifle, but on the heel, and then rock the rifle back. You're supposed to set it down, rock the rifle back on the heel so that your thumb is along the seam of the trouser leg, but also that all 3 toes are aligned. Your 2 toes, and then the toe of the butt of the rifle. All 3 toes aligned. And then the rifle is also supposed to be grounded to your footwear, whether it's a shoe or boot. So, are you taking a 12-inch sidestep? And look how you're not even, you're supposed to be dressing to the right, and this young man here is not dressing. Of course, this whole element, the 2 individuals here, aren't dressing. You can see the second cadet here is well behind the element leader, but then the third cadet actually needs to be out of line with the element leader and in line with the cadet who's next to him. You dress to the individual to your right, not to the element leader. So if the individual to your right is out of line, then you're going to be in line with somebody who's out of line, but you're going to be correct. They'll be wrong. And see how it was just kind of a 1, 2, 3, and there was no articulation there. Look at the arm swing here. Arm swing is quite inconsistent. We've got a toe strike for half step here, and commander, you should be on the other side, but switching sides isn't all that big of a deal. But so third element leader, you should be taking a full step and then entering half step, and half step is a heel strike, not a toe strike. camera operator is making me seasick. So unless there, this cadet here has a curved hand and it's not swinging all that well. Now, unless that's a physical difference that is hers, then if that's the case, then fine, not a problem. A judge would compensate for something like that, because anybody can join JROTC, anybody in high school, and no matter the physical differences. Which I absolutely love about cadet programs. But if not, then you can see the anticipation. Go back here. Now watch her arm, her left arm. See, it's not swinging before the pivot, and now, so it's probably just her being unaware of the improper arm swing. And then look at the angle to the elbow. This angle's fine. It's a natural angle. This is also fine. It's also natural. Some people have a slight angle. Some people don't. This is a created angle. So just relax those elbows. When I first joined JROTC, I stood at attention like this, and I had my elbows. I was told I looked like I was ready to attack someone. I had no idea. It was my first time, and I'm standing at attention. I have no idea what the position of attention is. I'm 14 years old, and so I learned. Okay, and I had somebody touch my elbows. Relax your elbows. Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Now I see. And so from then on, everything was fine. So it's just making individuals aware of the differences in how they're standing. So thumbs I don't see consistently along the seam of the trouser leg, and then also the grip on the rifle. All fingers, you're going to split the toe of the butt, the heel of the butt of the rifle, but you're going to close all your fingers. Split the heel with the index and middle fingers, and then close all those gaps. Close your fingers, close that thumb into the curl of the index finger. That's the Air Force technique. The Army technique is to have that split show and then also have the ring, and then the Marine Corps technique is to have that split show and then tuck the thumb into the curl. So, and you can see inconsistent angles as well here. So don't stomp on the to the rear. It's just a half step. And it looked like what you did. Yeah, it it looks like you just brought the feet up alongside each other, and you had that stomp in there. It's a half step. It's not a stomp, and it's also a heel strike with that half step. So timing is something that you need to watch as well. And don't call cadence, whatever you do. You've got to call the command over your shoulder. Even though it's stand fast, first and second element leaders, you need to turn that head. First, I know you did. Second, you didn't. So all three of you turn the head, call out the command, and then third element leader, you snap your head back. First and second, you keep your head there because you need to see what feet are happening when the step comes up when you're going to give forward march. And then after we'll watch what happens here, but then on the forward march, all you do is incline right and then left. That's it. No commands, no flanks, no pivots at all. The Air Force is very yeah, you're flanking. So why are you What on earth was that? So first, uh, why did the flight enter mark time when mark time was never given? That's and then Commander, you halted the team so that they're not even completely in a straight line, not everyone there, and then you march through the formation. So the only time that anybody goes through in between either the ranks or the elements squads of a formation is in training and on inspection. That's it. You never walk through a formation. The integrity of the formation needs to be maintained at all times. And you just broke the integrity of the formation. There's no reason for you to do that. And then head turns. So he said to the left, so you're going to turn the head to the left and call those commands. All of you, even though you're standing fast, third element, you still over the left because the movement is to the left. Now you turn those heads to the left. So you also don't come up and mark time either. Commander, why did you... That's interesting. Why did you switch sides? Besides doing it improperly, why did you switch sides? You should be over here with first element. I'm pointing at my screen like you can see that. So you should be there, right there, above me, on this side where the cursor is. That's where you should be. You should have been 3 steps away, centered on the middle element when everybody was in the long file there. But then when you went into the column, then you should have moved over and then ended up 3 steps away from the flight there. I don't understand that. That's interesting. Never seen that before. Not that I've seen everything. So you can see here that timing to step off. Oh, I meant to say, so Air Force elements don't come to mark time and then you call halt. You call halt as you're marking or as you're marching in, and then you halt. It's the Army that comes in and calls mark time, gets its dress, cover, interval, and distance, and then calls the halt. So Air Force, you just call halt immediately. No mark time at all. But you can see here for this column left, the timing here when I had the video halted earlier before. Camera, thank you. All right, so this is just going to take practice. It's just going to take a lot of practice. It's uncomfortable to watch, and it's probably uncomfortable to perform, knowing that you're not doing everything that you possibly could correctly, and I get that, you know. But you definitely you've got to read the Air Force pamphlet, and you also have to read the training circular for the rifle. So for calling the change in shoulder, or actually you went from port to right shoulder. Call it on the right foot, and then your arm swing is coordinated. because you could see that everybody had to hold their arm in place and then start swinging it. When you call it on the right foot, your hand just, it naturally comes down to a backswing and then can swing forward, and everything's much easier there. Camera. Oh, so I thought so. So for your change step, all you did was keep the same tempo, and technically you didn't change step. The change step was meant to be a doubling of the tempo for just 3 steps, and then you actually do change step. So just bringing your feet together like that doesn't do anything at all when you use the same tempo. But when you're marching forward and you step, 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 it's left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Then you change step. And you notice it was left, right, left really quickly. That's how you change step. And that's how you execute it properly. So, and so not only do you have a toe strike, but you have a little bit of a stomp there as well. So if you heel strike, then it's going to be much easier. So Ryan, team, I hope my comments are helpful. You have a lot of work to do. And if you want help with that, then I'm available. Let's work through video. And I don't even know where you are. Oh, no, don't march. So left face, don't do that. You don't march any significant distance without the element leaders leading. So it's always going to be right face. Give a counter column if you need to, or a couple of columns right. But don't face to the left and then start marching. It's, you know, anything 10 steps or less, yeah, sure, face to the left and you're good to go. And you can't also fall out from that position. You fall out from line position. So let's say you gave counter column and you're all here, so you come over here, it's first, second, and third elements, and then the commanders on the far side here in front of first. Then you're going to halt, you're at right shoulder, it looks, or no, left shoulder, you're at left shoulder. So the first thing commander's going to do after the halt is give order arms. So you go to order arms, then left face, everybody executes left face, then you fall out. You only fall out from line formation. So like I said, a lot of things to work on, but still it's doable, and it's not the end of the world, because this isn't the most wonderful critique. This is all about education and the educational process. You got to start somewhere, and honestly, at least you're making the effort, and I really do appreciate that. I very much do. So if you want help, ask. I'm here, and I'll do it. I finished my shelves in the garage, so there you go. I have time now. All right, we'll get on to the next critique, but it's going to be lots of practice ahead for the team. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it.